Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. In a big announcement after his bilateral talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, US President Donald Trump has said that America has agreed to extradite 2008 Mumbai terror attack accused Tahawwur Rana to India. Remember, Rana is the key accused in the 26/11 terror attack in Mumbai. He is currently in a high-security prison in the United States. India has been seeking his extradition for years. How significant is this move for India? For the victims of the Mumbai terror attack, what transpired all these years? How did the government, our diplomats, finally get the US to expedite the process, and what can we expect next? That is what we will try and make sense of tonight. Let's take a look at some political reactions to this.
आतंकवाद के खिलाफ लड़ाई में भारत और अमेरिका दृढ़ता से साथ खड़े रहे हैं। हम सहमत हैं कि सीमा पार आतंकवाद के उन्मूलन के लिए ठोस कार्रवाई आवश्यक है और मैं राष्ट्रपति जी का आभारी हूं। उन्होंने 2008 के जिसने भारत में नरसंहार किया था, उस मुजरिम को अब भारत के हवाले करने का निर्णय किया है। भारत की अदालतें उचित कार्यवाही करेंगी।
The United States and India will be working together like never before to confront the threat of radical Islamic terrorism, a threat all over the world, actually. Today, I'm pleased to announce that my administration has approved the extradition of one of the plotters and one of the very evil people of the world, and having to do with the horrific 2008 Mumbai terrorist attack, to face justice in India. So he's going to be going back to India to face justice. We're giving a very violent man, it seems to me. I mean, I don't know that he's been convicted yet or will be, but let's assume he's a pretty violent person. We're giving him back to India immediately, and there are more to follow because we have quite a few requests. So we work with India on crime, and we want to make it good for India, and it's very important. So that kind of a relationship is very important to us.
तहव्वुर राणा जो 26/11 के मुंबई के हमलों का एक प्रकार से प्लानिंग का मास्टरमाइंड रहा है, उसके एक्सट्राडिशन को अमेरिका ने मान्यता दी है। मैं इसके लिए देश के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। पिछले समय हम लोगों ने पीछे लग के अमेरिका से परमिशन लेकर ऑनलाइन तहव्वुर राणा की साक्ष्य की थी, जिसके कारण इस मामले में जो पाकिस्तान का हाथ था वो दुनिया के सामने आया। कोर्ट ने कन्विक्शन भी दिया, लेकिन हम सभी भारतवासी ये चाहते थे कि भारत के खिलाफ साजिश करने वाले, हम पर हमला करने वाले इस मास्टरमाइंड को भारत को सौंपा जाए, जिसके ऊपर अमेरिका तैयार नहीं थी। उनके प्रोटेक्शन में वो था, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी की पहल पर तहव्वुर राणा को एक्सट्रेडिशन की परमिशन एक प्रकार से अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति श्री ट्रंप इन्होंने दे दी है। मुझे लगता है भारत के लिए एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण ये चीज है, क्योंकि हमारे लीगल और जुडिशियल सिस्टम के माध्यम से हमारा अपराधी ये अपनी सजा पाए, ये हमारे लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। मैं इस घटना को बहुत महत्वपूर्ण घटना मानता हूं।
Well, my colleague Nikunj Garg, who has been tracking the Prime Minister's visit to the US very closely, getting us voices and updates, joins us. Nikunj, tell us the significance of this move for India, for its fight against terror. Also take us through the kind of fight that India put in all these years for this.
Well, Vasudha, let me try and answer the latter part of your question first, which is more critical and more important. Look, in the Washington, D.C., and in the Los Angeles court where this case was actually being fought, we were not just fighting Tahawwur Rana and his legal team. We were also fighting the might of the Pakistani state. We were also fighting the might of the Pakistani deep state. We were also fighting Pakistani sympathizers in Washington, D.C. And a question about that was raised to President Trump also yesterday when this matter came up for discussion during the press conferences that the two leaders addressed. So India has won against not just the individual criminal conspiracy accused Tahawwur Rana in the American courts. India has won against the entire might of the Pakistani state. And people may be curious that why was Pakistan trying to block this extradition? Because remember, of the Mumbai 2611 conspiracy, Tahawwur Rana is the only man whom India can probably lay their hands on ever alive, who was privy to each and every machination of the entire hierarchy of Lashkar-e-Taiba, enmeshed with the Pakistani army. Now, Lashkar-e-Taiba is nothing, particularly was nothing for that operation which was carried out in India during Mumbai 2611. I beg your pardon, a very dastardly strike, but a front for the Pakistani army. It was the Pakistani army that was orchestrating, planning, executing that strike. Lashkar was just a front. So if Tahawwur Rana comes to Indian soil, he will not only spill beans on the leadership and the hierarchy of Lashkar-e-Taiba, he will spill beans on the active role and patronage of the Pakistani army and Pakistani officials. Some of those Pakistani officials, we have been aware through the painstaking investigation work done by the Indian investigating agencies, first by the Mumbai police and then by the National Investigation Agency, who the case was transferred at a later stage. Now, if Tahawwur Rana comes to the Indian shores, Pakistani establishment would be exposed, not just the Lashkar. And that was the fear of the Pakistani establishment, which they constantly kept fighting on the various legal forums in the United States of America. Now, to come back to the original question that you asked, why is it so important? It is important because India needs to send out a message to the larger world that India of 2025, India of 2020s is not a country that will allow any kind of leeway to the people who have carried out any anti-India activity from any soil, be it the Pakistani soil, be it the Canadian soil, or be it the American soil. That is a very important message for nation states to convey. Otherwise, there is no meaning of sovereignty, there is no meaning of nation's interests. And that is why, despite fighting a nearly 18-year-old long battle with American establishment, in the American establishment, and with the other cohorts of the Pakistani establishment, India has won this case. President Trump yesterday announced that the government of America, which has a final say after the court orders, the Supreme Court had already cleared it. The National Investigation Agency has kept its teams ready to travel to United States of America. But the government of America has also finally cleared it under the due processes of Department of Justice, is what President Trump announced yesterday during that press conference with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And he said, we are sending a very bad man to India. He must face the full might of the legal justice in India. So it is critical that Tahawwur Rana comes. It is critical that the survivors of Mumbai 2611 get a closure on this sordid saga of Pakistani misadventure and Pakistani dastardly terror strike on India. And it is important that India sends out a message to the world that we will not brook any kind of breach of our sovereignty. And therefore, Tahawwur Rana's extradition is extremely critical. And my sense is that before this month is out, which is February of 2025, we should be able to put a lid on this sordid saga of Mumbai 2611. And in the future, if we are able to lay our hands on more conspirators hold out in Pakistan, then that would certainly be the silver lining on a very post a very dark cloud. And for now, of course, all eyes on Tahawwur Rana's extradition. And as I said, that I hope that in the next 10 to 15 days, that process should be completed.
Right. Thank you, Nikunj Garg, for joining us with those details. Clearly, several implications there for India's fight against terror. Like my colleague Nikunj Garg has also been reporting from Washington on how this strengthens India's fight against terror, because he is probably one of the few living persons to come back to India, and clearly one of the biggest takeaways from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting with Donald Trump today, the extradition of Tahawwur Rana finally all set to take place. Also joining us now is Neeraj Kumar, who's the former CP, Delhi Police. We also have Ujjwal Nikam, who's a senior lawyer and Indian special prosecutor, public prosecutor. We have Hemant Oberoi, who's a former chef at Taj Mumbai and also a survivor of the 2611 attack. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. To you, Mr. Oberoi, first, You are known to have prepared some wonderful meals for dignitaries across the world, from Bill Clinton to even former Prime Minister Vajpayee, but you're also a survivor of 26/11. You in fact narrowly escaped your own execution. You saw many of your colleagues die. When you look back, sir, how do you feel specifically on a day one of the main conspirators of this attack is all set to be brought to India soon? Do you see this as justice? Do you see this as closure? How do you see this?
Although I feel it's been 17 years almost that Rana will be brought to India, it's quite a bit of time, almost 2 decades have gone. And but it's nevertheless, at least justice will prevail, and it will be a solace to the families who lost their lives, who lost their near and dear ones, including all of us. We saw what happened on those nights. And I think it'll be justice done fully when he's been punished for this crime, because there was no fault of the people, innocent people who came to the hotel to dine, to be with us, and no fault of the people who came on the job and lost their lives in saving others. So these people have to be punished.
Right. Also, Mr. Neeraj Kumar, India has been seeking Tahawwur Rana's extradition to face trial for years. And like Mr. Oberoi has also been pointing out that it's been, over 16 years. Now, the breakthrough did come when US Supreme Court, in fact, rejected his review petition. How do you, what would you say to this question? What took so long?
No, extradition proceedings are legal proceedings, are court proceedings. They usually take very long. We have so many other instances before us, like the Kingfisher Baron, who is still in London, and Nirav Modi, and so on and so forth. So many people are there. There's multiple layers of appeal. And whenever there is a legal proceeding involved, it usually takes a bit of time. And mind you, in these legal proceedings, especially involving extradition, the mutual political relationship matter a lot. And the fact that the US government has agreed to extradite Tahawwur Rana is a clear indication of the improving relationship between India and the US.
Right. Ujjwal Nikam, you have been the public prosecutor in this case, sir. Before I ask you what you think would happen next, let me request you to also tell us a little bit about this man who is who's being discussed today, Tahawwur Rana. If you look at the 400-page charge sheet by Mumbai police, this is a man who was aware of Mumbai terror attack. He was in contact with several terrorist groups. In fact, his co-conspirators also included David Headley. In fact, Rana is also accused of having close links with Pakistan's ISI, and also someone who basically has been prosecuted by international courts for providing material support to terrorist organizations. So clearly tell us, how significant was his role in the Mumbai terror attacks?
See, it's a very significant role in the sense that David Coleman Headley, who had visited Mumbai before the terror attack of 26 November, even after the terror attack of 26 November, and the main task which was assigned to David Coleman Headley, that to have the photographs of the various places for landing as well as the targeted places. Later on, it is revealed that he shared the said photographs and handed over to Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jamaat-ul-Dawa. This is the one part of his evidence. Now, David Coleman Headley came to Mumbai before the attack of 26 November under the name and style as the immigration center which was established by Tahawwur Rana in US. So Tahawwur Rana has a full knowledge that for what purpose David Coleman Headley has been deployed and what he was doing. We can't forget the very fact that Tahawwur Rana and David Coleman Headley, basically Pakistani national, they were staying in Pakistan. Tahawwur Rana was serving as a doctor in Pakistan Army also for some time. Now, David Coleman Headley, when I had been to Islamabad after the execution of Ajmal Kasab with the 3 Indian officials and the government of India's official delegation. And mainly we were inquiring with the Pakistani authority as to why there is a delay to prosecute the perpetrators of the terror attack. In fact, the criminal conspiracy was hatched on the soil of the Pakistan. But the stock answer of Pakistani authority was there is no evidence, and India did not share that evidence about the conspiracy. We were really amused to note their finding because the conspiracy was hatched on their soil.
Right.
Their investigating agency was required to find out the evidence, but on the contrary, they were blaming us. So we came back. Later on, I examined the David Coleman Headley in Mumbai court. Now, David Coleman Headley, in his evidence, has given sensitive revelation.
Okay.
Disclosing an entire plan. And the email correspondence which was exchanged between Lashkar operatives as well as him. Now, another important facet of David Coleman Headley's evidence that he produced the certain mobile numbers of the Pakistani ISI official. Okay. He has not given those numbers to us only, but he had produced those evidence in the Chicago court. Myself and one of the Joint Commissioner of Police of Mumbai, we had been to the Chicago court. We scrutinized all the documents, and thereafter we had decided to take the evidence through video conferencing.
Okay.
Though David Headley was also an accused in our case, but there was a plea bargain agreement between David Coleman Headley and U.S. government, and he has been sentenced for 35 years.
And there's been a lot of fight that has gone into this. Also, Neeraj Kumar, you
Yes.
heard Ujjwal Nikam also out. Government sources and all legal documents, they are saying that all warrants have been issued and shared with US authorities. The logistics has been almost done, and there is a sense that this could take place soon. Clearly, what would this mean for all those people that India has been looking for? How does this make India's battle against terror easier in some ways, at least to nab those people who help in terror activities in India but escape to foreign soil?
As I said earlier, it sends out a very clear signal that the most powerful country in the world, namely the US, and India have now begun to collaborate in a very effective way on matters involving terror attacks. So this will send out a very clear message to the world that US is on our side in this fight against terror. Well, if you are referring to other accused who are hiding in Pakistan and other enemy countries, I would like to tell you that it will make no impact. Because when the country where they are being hosted is an enemy country, this development will make not much impact.
Okay.
It will not make any impact.
Okay.
So therefore,
yeah. Yes, sir.
As far as US and its allies are concerned, we will begin to see a very high level of cooperation between our country and those countries.
Right. Mr. Oberoi, what is your expectation from what happens next, sir? Do you have a request that, the trial should be expedited? Because finally you spoke about the kind of delay that took place in the extradition process. What is your expectation from what is to come now?
You see, expectation from all the Indians, and especially those who suffered at the hands of these people, are that, it should be expedited as soon as possible. It should not be another 5-10 years long process where, it means nothing. The justice doesn't prevail then. If it is 25 years it takes, the justice is not done. It's too long a period. Now, the Indian government, we should be thankful to the Indian government that they have been able to bring Rana back, and he should be coming soon. And I think the whole process should take a faster track route, and justice should come fast.
Mr. Nikam, very quickly, how do you see the process that is going to unfold next? Do you see the trial getting expedited? Will there be seeking of custody, then the trial? Will a team travel to the US to get Rana? How do you see the process that is to be expected from here on?
US President Mr. Trump has clearly given the signal that US administration has no objection at all to extradite Tahawwur Rana. So this will make very clear that Tahawwur Rana will be extradited very soon. Now, our premier investigating agency, NIA, is investigating the entire thing. They will bring Tahawwur Rana and they will file the charge sheet. They will produce in the special court of the NIA in Delhi. And then he will be prosecuted. And you see, I think Tahawwur Rana mainly will be prosecuted for the larger criminal conspiracy. Now, it is more than clear that David Headley and Tahawwur Rana had also visited Delhi as well as the Pune and Mumbai. So beside the terror attack of 26 November, I am of the optimism that Tahawwur Rana mainly will be tried for the larger criminal conspiracy. So yet the NIA has not opened their plans, but I am of the view that there is something more than the terror attack of 26 November.
Okay. So clearly a long discussion on this is something that is needed. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Tahawwur Rana, who was convicted for his role in 26/11 attacks on Mumbai that resulted in the deaths of 164 people, will now be tried by Indian agencies. He will be facing trial in India soon. He will soon be extradited to India 16 years after the attack. A diplomatic win for India clearly, but also one of the biggest takeaways from Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States of America. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast.